We are back. Wow, what an exciting ENG award show so far. Throughout the show, we have been profiling all of our nominees for this year's most prestigious award, the ENG Ring, awarded to the most credible sports authors. Our next presenter is no secret to the sports world. It gives me with great pleasure to call up Reese Bazick, who will be highlighting Roland Lazenby as our fourth and final nominee for this year's ENG Ring ceremony. Reese, you may come on up. Thank you. What an honor to be able to speak to you about one of the all-time great sports writers, Roland Lazenby. I've personally been a fan of many of his books, and if he chooses to write about you as an athlete, you know you have made it. I can only hope that one day Roland will highlight my career in a book. Just kidding. It is with no secret that Roland Lazenby was not a superstar athlete. So how does a 7-year-old author write a book about one of the greatest basketball players of all time? Well, it started with his journalism background at Virginia Military Institute and Hollins University. It was here that a professor urged him to write a book. It's the only way to truly be a writer, the professor said. Kind of makes sense, but great advice nonetheless. This, along with the fact that his father was an avid basketball fan, gave him the idea to start writing about sports. It's not as if Roland knew nothing about basketball. He did spend some time as a coach at a local high school in Virginia. It's not the most glamorous path to becoming one of the most well-known sports biography writers today, but it worked for him. Roland has written over 6 books about American football and basketball. Considering the time and energy it takes to write just one of these books, this in itself is an amazing feat that solidifies him as one of the most credible sports authors of our generation. His first book about basketball great Ralph Sampson is what launched his career and his passion for sports writing. In 1997, his book Bull Run won Sports Book of the Year, and he duplicated this honor with one of his most recent works, Michael Jordan, The Life. This is a brilliant piece of literature that leaves no stone unturned when looking into the life of Michael Jordan. Speaking of awards, Peter Golenbach of the New York Times had this to say about Roland Lazenby's book, Michael Jordan, The Life. The depth of reporting, his frequent ascent into poetry, and his intelligent analysis of the life of this complicated, fascinating American icon deserves the Pulitzer Prize consideration. Wow. To be a good sports writer, you need to know the facts and have the sources that are willing to help you get the facts. Lazenby was a master of gathering the facts. Sports Illustrated, The Washington Post, and NBA.com are just a few of the major sources that Roland was able to draw on during his time writing Michael Jordan, The Life. Not to mention, he was also featured in all 3 of these sources. He spent many years gathering information from Jordan's family, specifically his mother, father prior to his death, brothers, and sisters. He even searched over 5,000 death certificates so that he could paint an accurate picture of Jordan's family history. He forged trusted relationships with many of Jordan's coaches from high school, college, and the NBA. Names like Dean Smith, Pop Herring, and Phil Jackson, to name a few. He interviewed countless NBA teammates and players during his career, and the Bulls GM Jerry Krause gave him permission to travel with the team so Lazenby could get inside the life of Jordan and the Bulls. All of this information helped shape this novel into a very comprehensive look into the life of Michael Jordan, so much so that Jordan was furious with the tell-all book. Almost. Lazenby didn't mention Jordan's gambling. Jordan left Lazenby out of appearing in the recent Netflix documentary, The Last Dance, even though producer Jason Hare used his book as the Bible for the production of the same series. If Michael Jordan approved of The Last Dance, and the producers used Lazenby's book as the main source of information, then we can draw a simple conclusion that this piece of literature and Roland himself are very credible. One other compelling piece is that Lazenby has written so many books and is under contract to write others, including one on LeBron James. If his literature wasn't genuine and trustworthy, why would elite athletes and their families trust Roland with writing about their careers and risk that he would tarnish their legacies? Roland has said that it is too hard writing these books and that it takes up too much of his life. I'm hopeful for one more book. He is respected by athletes, coaches, and by other writers. Roland Lazenby and his work, Michael Jordan: A Life, are very deserving of the ENG ring as a very credible sports author. Thank you. Roland, you may come on up.